Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez are reportedly in talks for a 2026 rematch, and the only real question is, why? Other than a massive payday, there is no logical reason for this fight to happen again. The first bout was never truly competitive, and if it happens again, it could be even more one-sided. Even after being completely dismantled in September, Canelo is refusing to accept reality. He remains stubborn and vocal about wanting Crawford again, convinced that a healthy arm would change the outcome. But experts from Eddie Hearn to Antonio Margarito are warning him to stop. The message is clear: Canelo no longer has the physical ability to chase Crawford down. This wouldn't be a risky rematch, it would be a career-ending mission. If Canelo steps back into that ring, he may be walking straight toward the end of his legacy.
Well, it looks like it's the end of an era. Canelo Alvarez spoke about his retirement plans and has confirmed that the end is near and that his time inside the ring is coming to an end relatively soon. Canelo Alvarez said that he is now in the stage wherein he's also thinking a lot about how he wants to focus as well as enjoy the fruits of his labor, not just for himself but for his family as well. The Mexican fighter who made his professional boxing debut at the age of 15 years old and has been professionally fighting for almost 20 years now said the following, and I quote, "From the age of 28 to 29, this is the age where I have felt best. I've always said that at 37 years old is a good age to enjoy what I have done with my family, other things in my career, and that's what I say. But I said I would debut at 18 and I did it at 15. End of quote.
One of the most shocking reality checks is coming from someone close to Canelo's own inner circle, promoter Eddie Hearn. Promoters usually hype up any fight that brings money, but Hearn has been brutally honest about why this matchup is disastrous for the Mexican superstar. He recently revealed a truth that Canelo's team has tried to hide for years. They knew Crawford's style was a nightmare for them long before the first fight ever happened. According to Hearn, this was never just about skill, it was about a terrible stylistic matchup. Crawford's lateral movement and switch-hitting ability completely neutralized Canelo's power. This wasn't a bad night. It was a bad equation. And now, Canelo's refusal to accept that his feet can no longer keep up with his eyes is blinding him to the danger waiting in a rematch.
I believe they have a rematch clause. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of wording because Canelo doesn't enter a fight without some kind of wording in terms of rematch clause. But he's just not going to beat Terence Crawford. It's the style's all wrong for him, the movement's all wrong for him. And that's what I said. You know, going into the fight, I really believed Crawford would win in the style that he did. And then just as it got a bit closer at the weigh-in, I was like, my heart was like, nah, Canelo's got this, you know. And but deep down, I kind of knew that it was all wrong for him. And to be honest with you, Canelo knew it was all wrong for him. You know, I had the conversation with Canelo Alvarez probably, I don't know, a year ago, about Terence Crawford. And he was like, nah, why would I fight Terence Crawford? Like, you know, he hates that style. And when he fought Charlo, I remember him being really disappointed that Charlo just moved and moved and moved. And that's why he ended up fighting Munguia and Berlanga, because they're guys that wouldn't do that and they'd stand in front of him, and that suits him down to the ground. Anyone that's got movement like Skull, like Crawford, like, you know, he really struggles against. And when he was a bit younger and fresher, he could probably get away with it and cut it off, and, you know, but then you see guys like Bivol and, you know, Crawford and these guys beat him because of that movement. And I don't know what he does again. I mean, you know, the biggest money fight out there for him is the rematch with Crawford.
This only adds to the conversation around Canelo's physical decline, which analysts are now openly discussing. Reports from outlets like Sports Illustrated and Fan Nation don't just say that he lost, they say he was completely outclassed. The most concerning issue is his knees. After nearly 2 decades of punishment, the damage has turned Canelo into a flat-footed fighter. In his prime, he could cut off the ring with explosive pressure. But against Crawford in late 2025, he moved like he was stuck in mud. Experts agree, you cannot repair worn-out joints in a training camp. Meanwhile, Crawford, who moves like a track athlete, controlled the entire fight, making Canelo miss, resetting the angle, and punishing him over and over. The reality is simple and brutal. Canelo cannot move fast enough anymore to land the one punch he needs to survive.
I mean, is it dangerous to Canelo's legacy to lose to the best of this era and the best of the era previously? I don't know. Like, did Canelo ever have an era where he was the best in the world? Maybe that's the question he's still trying to answer himself, and why he would want this rematch with Crawford. But when I see this news coming out of him wanting the rematch, having the elbow surgery, maybe in his mind going, okay, my elbow wasn't fresh, I wasn't able to turn my shots over, so that's why I can win this rematch. I like the competitive nature of it. I don't like the fight for him. I think the matchup's all wrong for Canelo. I think this style of fight, in terms of what Terence Crawford does well, is counterpunching off the front and back, ability to go from range with his jab, be inside with it too, protect himself, catch counter with punches. He's got just a different timing than Canelo really has on his punches, and then you pair it with the volume that Terence Crawford can throw, and his feet, and his angles. This is the bad matchup for Canelo. We've seen it already, and I just don't know if the rematch goes any differently. I think Terence Crawford would have Canelo in real trouble the second time around, and again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, he'd knock him out cold, because Canelo's got an iron chin, but if he didn't already in the first fight, he would do a number. Texas Instruments 83 plus on Canelo if they rematch. I truly believe that, because I think the matchup's all wrong. I think that both guys learned something about the other in that fight, and the guy that took more away as far as data and things to use was Terence Crawford, because what Canelo brought was the best version of him, and it wasn't enough. And if Terence brought the best version of him and it was enough, because I think both guys brought their best version, but the fight played out how the styles will always match up. Canelo is best when a guy will stand in front of him and go upper body movement, planted feet, let's fight exclusively in the phone book. Terence Crawford is at his best when he can dog walk someone, walk the dog on them literally, have them on a leash, walking around the ring, and then planting his feet, throwing, circling, feinting off the back foot, then coming back, counter punches. He has every tool in the shed, and I think skill-wise and stylistically, Canelo.
And if that isn't enough of a warning, former champion Antonio Margarito has delivered a chilling prediction. According to him, the second fight would be even easier for Crawford. The reasoning is something boxing insiders call the solved puzzle theory. Once a master technician like Crawford downloads the data on an opponent, the mystery is gone forever. Margarito believes Crawford has already figured out Canelo's timing, his feints, and his power. There are no surprises left. Since Canelo cannot completely reinvent his style at this stage of his career, he would essentially be walking into a calculated slaughter, where Crawford already knows every move before Canelo even thinks about throwing it.
¿Qué me dice de la gran pérdida que tuvo México ahorita ante Terence Crawford en parte de Canelo? Una pérdida muy dura para el boxeo mexicano, pero ¿qué piensa usted de eso? ¿Qué pasó ahí esa noche?
Sí, mira, realmente yo siempre lo he dicho, ¿no? Realmente, mira, yo siempre lo dije que Canelo pues aprendió mucho, y la verdad digo mis respetos, ¿no? Pero creo yo, sinceramente, pues que Canelo realmente pues escogían rivales para poder que se viera ganador él. Yo sé que arriba del ring no sabemos qué pueda pasar, ¿no? Pero realmente yo creo que no peleó con los mejores para mí, ¿no? Y realmente yo creo que Crawford pues tenía el estilo para ganarle, y sinceramente me han preguntado, y yo pienso realmente que en una revancha le gana más fácil Crawford a Canelo. Digo, desgraciadamente pues es mexicano, ¿no? Y haz de cuenta, a veces pues tengo problemas con los mexicanos, pero realmente yo es lo que yo pienso, ¿no? del boxeo de Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo is a good fighter, and he learned a lot. I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but I knew Crawford was going to win, and I was going for the Mexican because I'm Mexican, of course, but Canelo used to choose his fighters, but this time he couldn't do that.
In the rematch, he thinks Crawford can beat him easier, huh?
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier for Crawford to beat him.
Yeah.
However, the warnings are no longer just technical, they've become personal, and dangerously so. The tension between the two camps has reached a breaking point, with most of the heat coming from Crawford's head trainer, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre. He isn't simply advising Canelo to back off. He's making it clear there are consequences. After the first fight, Bomac was caught on video shouting, "For all that, if you cross the line again."
You know, I felt like I was in control. You know, I think he was trying to figure me out.
Did you feel that you were frustrating him? He tried to lift you up, he headbutted you. Were you sensed?
That hostility comes from what Crawford's team sees as blatant disrespect, both before and after the fight. They believe Canelo tried to big boy them during negotiations and is now attempting to discredit the loss. And when a trainer like Bomac takes things personally, the strategy changes. It's no longer just about outboxing your opponent, it becomes about making a statement. In a rematch, Crawford wouldn't just be looking to win. He'd be looking to punish Canelo to send a message to his corner and to the entire boxing world.
You know, there was this big blow up thing, like I was scared of him. And that's why I like, man, I ain't scared of shit. You know what I mean?
Blow up thing.
Yeah, because he was just like, you know what I mean? He said he didn't say it, you know, but they was saying in the
Took
back
that personal.
that yeah, like I'm scared of him. I'm like, scared of you? Like, me? Oh man. So I'm like, when this bell ring, I'm coming right at him. Coming right at him. You know, and just let him know that I'm gonna be here all night. I ain't going nowhere.
Talk me to the fight.
So, you know.
Despite all this, Canelo has latched onto one main excuse to justify a rematch: his elbow. Following the defeat, reports surfaced that he needed surgery in late 2025 and that the injury affected his performance. Canelo believes a healthy arm would change everything. But Ring Magazine and other top analysts quickly shut down that narrative. They argue that a healthy elbow doesn't fix slow feet. The W80 concept analysis pointed out that Canelo wasn't outmuscled, he was outboxed. The real issue wasn't power, it was positioning and range. He couldn't get close enough to land clean shots. By focusing on an injury, Canelo is falling into a familiar fighter's delusion, believing a small physical fix can overcome a massive skill gap. That's a dangerous mindset to carry into a contract with a pound-for-pound king.
Like I said, the Ring Magazine reporting as of about 4 days ago now, I'm a little late to the news, but Canelo Alvarez wants Terence Crawford rematch, says negotiations are underway for 2026. Now, first off, I expect nothing less from Canelo. He wants to get that fight back because, well, number one, it's a somewhat advantageous matchup at 168 for him, and there's not many other matchups at 168 for Canelo right now that offer him any sort of advantages. Imagine you try to put him in there with the Hamza Shiraz or someone with a bigger frame, longer, taller. I mean, even David Benavidez, before he went and knocked out and absolutely smoked Anthony Yarde, was saying, you know, I'm still entertaining the potential of a Canelo fight. There's not many other people at 168. I mean, maybe if you did Chris Eubank Jr., but after he loses to Conor Benn, what does that fight really even mean? Canelo says, I want my run back. I want my get back, but I gotta be honest, I don't know how this goes well for Canelo in a rematch. Honestly, you look at the first fight, and the things that plagued Canelo were essentially the things that plague him against most boxers. His flat feet, his lack of movement, his lack of volume. He couldn't get to Terence. He was overextending. He was getting caught with counter shots as he overextended. The big shown around, memed, and replayed moment of the fight is Canelo trying to throw a hook and a right hand, and Terence Crawford slipping on the outside and banging the left-hand counter behind it. Canelo was beaten to the punch from distance. He was beaten in exchanges, and even in points in the fight, he was beaten inside.
And what makes it even more risky is Crawford's current state of mind. Terence Crawford is furious. Instead of getting universal praise for moving up 2 weight classes and dismantling the face of boxing, he's hearing excuses that Canelo was washed, too old, or injured. In recent interviews with Fight Hub TV, Crawford fired back at those claims, clearly frustrated that his dominance is being downplayed. He stated directly that he is stronger than Canelo and that the supposed size advantage was a myth. A hungry, angry, disrespected Crawford is the most dangerous version of him. And that emotional edge could push him to take extra risks in a rematch, hunting for a devastating knockout just to silence the doubters once and for all.
To be honest, when I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me, you know? But for me, I knew I could do it, and I believed that I could do it. I just needed the opportunity.
Terence, when did you know that you were going to beat him? Over here on your left.
When he signed the contract.
He seemed to focus mostly on body punches, and you were hitting him in the head a lot. Was it your reach that gave you the advantage?
It was everything. You know, he wasn't hitting the body or anything. He was hitting my elbow because I was blocking it. But, you know, I think I was the better man tonight.
What was that moment where you were pushed aside by the ring and they suspended they called a timeout for a second and then started the fight again in the middle? I think it was the 7th inning.
Well, I got headbutted. I got cut. I got to go get stitches. You didn't see it?
No.
Oh, yeah. He headbutted me. So I got to go get...
At the end of the day, the boxing world may be watching a legend walk into the most dangerous decision of his career. The money for a 2026 rematch would be massive, possibly record-breaking. but the damage to Canelo's legacy could be permanent. Experts have made it clear, the stylistic matchup is wrong, the physical decline is real, and Crawford is only getting sharper. Canelo Alvarez has built a career on defying the odds, but this time, the odds don't just favor his opponent, they feel almost impossible. The real question is whether fans are witnessing a brave warrior chasing redemption, or a stubborn king marching toward the guillotine for one final, massive payday. YouTuber Showbiz recently weighed in on the potential rematch, sharing his own strong opinion.
We all know Terence Crawford whooped that man's ass 11 rounds to 1, in reality, all right? But if you count, punches, landed or copied by, statistically, technically, it was a closer fight, okay? Now, Saul Canelo Alvarez also, last time you saw him, he's, nursing and recovering from an elbow surgery, which he had an elbow injury going into the fight. So, you start thinking about stuff like that. I'm talking about if you Canelo, why would you say, let's go ahead with the rematch. I think I got a shot. All right, being a competitor for one. All right, and number two, the fight was closer technically than you thought because you were in there, and in there you felt like you were getting your ass whipped. And number three, you went in there nursing an elbow injury. So it's like, I think I may have a chance if I'm 100% healthy. Right? He feels the same way about Bivol because he had a wrist injury going into the Bivol fight. So it's just, you think about all those things.
Meanwhile, boxing trainer Robert Garcia believes a second fight wouldn't just be good for Canelo, it would be a gift to the fans.
He needs to make a change, I think. I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit, but don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming content. And as always, drop your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next one.